Ryan.
Hi, folks. Basil Chapman sitting in for Jacob, who usually does the Tom O'Brien show. And here I am. I usually do the 10 o'clock to 11 Eastern time frame. That's the Tiger Technicians Hour every market day. And my service here at TFNN is the opening call daily newsletter. Let me just get to the nitty-gritties. There was a pattern that I look at where you can go from the downside of a price, from a price movement, and then come back. And I call it bar symmetry. And that's where it looks very much like the number of bars on the left can equal the number of bars on the right going back. But then there's another another pattern that I look at. I've taken it away because it was getting a little messy, and that's this large rectangle. If it starts, instead of curving over, it starts to make higher highs and higher lows, you can anticipate a move that takes you to 4 higher peaks, back to that level, in 4 higher moves, and it either goes just under, right on, or just above, and then you got to be careful. Well, in this particular instance, it went to peak D a little bit underneath the 42,821 high that I'm looking at from the end of March as my benchmark. And what we're looking at is there was a left side, right side price to that midpoint, that candle right there. It did it perfectly, but then it went on to higher highs. And what's happened is it's gone to this resistance area. I'll just show you this very briefly. And one of the things I said to subscribers this morning to my opening call is that if you look at this 120-minute chart of the Dow, you can see we're getting right into a whole bunch of resistance, Chapman wave automated Chapman wave resistance levels. Well, what happened is we tried to rally, couldn't go above yesterday's high, and now we're pulling back. And then just very briefly, I've done this in my show every day for the last couple of days. I'll do it again just very briefly. In the Chapman wave methodology, if all the technicals are very strong and the 9-period moving average, this green line, is still above the 14, and you've gotten to that 4th highest peak, peak D, I alphabetize it from the low bar. Each successively higher peak is counted. And when it gets to the 4th highest peak, first of all, it gets upgraded to a buy mode at a certain point, and that implies it should get to a D, the 4th highest peak. Once it gets there, other things can happen. Well, it ran up to a D. It had a minor pullback for a day. It gapped up the next day, and that, when you make a higher high after peak D, you automatically think in the Chapman wave methodology E/A. You have an alternate count. And the reason is, very often you get these peak Ds and they go on and they make another 4 higher peaks. That's the technique that I developed. Well, you don't know it's going to happen, therefore you have an alternate count. So we went to an F, and now it's a peak F/B. But look, the price is over the 9. The 9 that's the green line. 9-period moving average is over the 14. The MACD, the moving average, is strong. The relative strength is, this is that gray line, still strong. Stochastic at 95% is in a bull. We've been long. We are aggressively long the Dow. But when you're long, you want to see that stochastic over 90%, and especially 95%. It says at least you've got the veracity on any pullback to rebound strongly. And the on-balance volume, this blue line, is a little overbought, and therefore we're getting this pullback. And if you look at the weekly, we're waiting for the MACD to cross positive, waiting for the pink 9-period moving average to cross positive. So this is still a work in progress. I'm not going to spend time on the others other than to say SPX.X, so the Dow is down 246 at 42,547. The S&P is down 44 at 59.19. Look, it's also got a potential instant restart right here, but it's so extended you would expect. I've got a 1-to-1 to the upside that says at the 6,005 level, that's where there should be resistance. But look at this. It's just holding quite nicely. If at any point it takes out, doesn't even have to close, but it takes out this lower 59.24.21, I'm sorry, 58.65.16, this low on the 15th, then you've negated this Chapman wave instant restart. But look at this fantastic move in the weekly. The weekly is only Tuesday, so the 9-period moving average, we have to wait for Friday, but so far it's flipped to an L, which means it's long. And that's a really good positive, and the MACD is positive. So it's a little bit more In the weekly chart, it's already signaled a buy signal, and that's important. Not a buy mode yet, but a buy signal. QQQ, I'll just do this quickly. We don't want to run out of time. We've also got Tim Ord coming on later on. Here's your instant restart, making a peak F/B in the resistance area that we were talking about, and that was the 540.80. Oh, no, that wasn't that was the high. That was this resistance that I drew in right here with the exact low of 402.39 on the 7th, going to where? Going to today, and we've already gone above that. So this is all that price-time match, the symmetry. It's done that perfectly. And the weekly chart's getting into a resistance area, but it's so strong. IWM, the Russell 2000, stalled at the 200 period. What a beautiful indicator this 200 period moving average is. Look, it was support all the way from, that was December into the February, March, and then it was taken out, it became resistance. Now it's a magnet line. So as soon as it starts to trade 208.64, if in May it can start to trade in the 211, 212 area, that'll be a big positive. But that's a magnet line as it stands right now for the IWM. I need to go to the gold. Gold is up nicely, up 58 to 32.92. One of the things that we still have our gold position, the physical gold PHYS, we've taken some off, but look at this. It's acting quite nicely here. You know, there's still geopolitical tension. I treat gold as like an insurance policy for countries going into gold, because if they're unsure about the currencies or geopolitical, that's where they go. Well, we had a very big pullback from the 3,500 level down to the 3,100 level, and now we're having a bounce. And you can see the weekly chart is still very strong. Let's go to silver, SI. Here we go. Silver's rallying up 67 cents. Right in the Chapman wave inside track repellent zone, the green line and pink line, it was stuck. And it was stuck just above the 200 period moving average, but you've still got a pink 9 period moving average. If that can flip to positive with the price going from 33.18 where it is right now in silver, there's a continuous contract, possibly going to the 33.87 or higher level. That's going to be a big deal, but key support is at 31.50. Let's just go to Bitcoin right now as we're going to the break. Bitcoin's holding really nicely up 260 at 106,140. That's why we're still long. We think it's going to test this inside track repellent zone in the 110,000 area. I'll be back in a moment. Basil Chapman sitting in the Tom O'Brien Show, sitting in for Jacob, and I'll be right back.